Yeah. So let us move to the further discussion in the class. So last class we almost completed. We almost completed the most important topic. We almost completed the concept of random module. And last session we had a discussion about the packages and the most important modules, and before that functions. So when I come to the concept of exceptions, we have completed almost 60%. Now we are having the another topic, 40% topics are left out. Now we are entering into the most important topic, most important topic, exception handling. Exception handling in Python. Exception handling in Python, which is the most important topic and the most important area. Okay, so we are going to learn it, what inside of it. What we are learning in the exception handling topic. We are going to learn something like this. Look at that. Index, I am going to write. What is the purpose of exception handling in real time? What is the purpose of what? Exception handling in real time. First purpose of exception handling. First purpose of exception handling. Next we need to understand. What are the various types of errors. Types of errors. There I am going to talk about types of errors, which I am going to list out. Compile time errors. And the next B is called logical errors. Logical errors. Carefully try to understand. Next is called runtime errors. Now there we are understanding what do you mean by exception. That is called a definition of exception. Definition of exception. Definition of what? Exception. Next, definition of exception handling. Definition of exception handling. Definition of exception handling. Definition of exception. Definition of exception handling. Next, we are going to understand about types of errors we are getting, and then compile time errors, logical errors, and then runtime errors. Definition of exception and a definition of exception handling. Definition of exception handling. And the next, syntax for handling the exception. Syntax for handling the exception. Syntax for handling the exception. Okay. And next we are going to understand the keywords. There also I will write it. The keywords. See that. The keywords used for handling exceptions. The keywords used for handling the exceptions. Handling the exceptions. What are the keywords we are learning there? Try. I will write side by to it. Next called what you know. Try. Except. And C is called what? Try. Except. Next we are going to understand about else. Next we are going to talk about else. Now we are talking about finally. Try. Finally. And next we are talking about E. And there we are talking about raise. These are the keywords. How many keywords are there? How many keywords we have? Five keywords are there, which is a very important topic. Carefully try to listen. Next we are going to understand about types of exceptions. Types of exceptions. We are talking about what? Types of exceptions we are talking. Types of exceptions we are talking. Types of exceptions. There I will write this point. Here only. Types of exceptions. There I am going to talk about predefined exceptions. Predefined. Also called as what? Built-in exceptions. Built-in exceptions we can call. B is called what? Programmer defined exceptions. Programmer oblique. Also called as what? User defined exceptions. User defined exceptions, and the keywords used for handling the exceptions. The keywords used for handling the exceptions. Syntax for handling the exceptions. And the most important, and the programming exercise about this. And next, of course, in every moment of it, programming exercise examples, programming examples. We are talking about it. Next, we are talking about development of programmer defined exceptions. Programmer defined exceptions. Steps. There we are talking about steps for development of programmer defined exceptions. And immediately, then programming examples will be written next part. Okay, about that. And we are talking about one case study also. We will discuss it. This is of course, case study is called what? ATM application at that point of time. ATM application, we will discuss it. This is a index, the in detailed index of what? Exception handling. This is the index of these things. Dear students, can we start the discussion now? Can we start this explanation now? Right, students, be attentive and try to learn everything and try to be perfect in the class. Be perfect in the classroom, dear students. Let me start all of you very perfectly about this description, what I am going to explain. Okay, right. So try to understand very well. Don't get any confused. If you concentrate carefully, you can understand like anything. Because this class is a first day of exception handling. It's very important to understand the entire lecture, what I am going to discuss. Okay, so let us start with the importance of exception handling. Sir, what exactly the importance of exception handling in real time and how it is most useful? All these things I want to enter inside of it. Right. Look at that. Now I'm talking about introduction to exception handling. Yeah. Introduction to exception handling. Yes. So coming to the point back, introduction to exception handling, I'm going to talk. Yeah. Very, very interesting. Let's follow this. Fine. See, the purpose of exception handling is to develop strong applications. Look at. I'll read the point by point. Carefully go on understand. The purpose of exception handling. This exception handling, and some of my Java students are already there in my class. In the Java class, we learned exception handling. Same concepts, but syntaxes are different. Implementation is different. Right? Riyaj? So already you are my Java student. Already you understand exceptions in our exception handling in Java, and it is going to be very simple for you. Okay, all Java students who already listen. After learning Python and exception handling, if you listen Java, that is going to be more dead easy for you. Like that. And you'll get the complete picture of it. How easy the exception handling in real time. And without exception handling, there is no real time projects. So keep in mind, after learning exception handling, our programs are so stronger enough. So the purpose of exception handling is that to develop robust applications. Robust applications means what? Strong applications. I mean to say, to develop what applications? Strong applications they are called. Yeah. So let's start about what exactly the meaning of robust. Within few minutes, you will understand the meaning of robust. Even in our exception handling, even in our course level, beginning content level, if you see, I might be written one feature of Python called what? Robust. Robust is nothing but what? Strong. Robust is nothing but what? Strong. Robust is nothing but what, my dear students? Strong. Okay. Now, let me move forward. This is the title of the topic. At the end of the class, you will understand what exactly robust is, why it is robust, and all those things. You will perfectly will follow. Okay, now, right. Let me start about this type of example. See, as a part of industry in real time applications, in real time applications, in real time applications to develop any project, to develop any project, we use a language, we use a language or what? A technology. Technology in the sense you will use a Django for development of web applications. Like that, Python based language you are using. So when we use any language, compulsory language is must. In real time applications to develop any project, we use a language. And by using that language, by using that language, by using that language, we develop, we develop, we develop the programs, we develop the programs, we develop the programs, and we execute, we develop the programs and execute the programs, execute, execute the programs, execute the programs. Right. During this process, during this process, during this process, during this process, we get various types of errors, various types of various types of errors, various types of errors. Right? They are number one, in real time applications. When we develop any type of application, when we develop any project, or when we use a language or technology, we use a language or technology, and by using that, we develop the programs, execute the programs. During this process, we get various types of errors. But the first one, number one, compile time errors, compile time errors, compile time errors, compile time errors. First one is that. Second one is called what you know. Next one is called what you know, logical errors, logical errors. Next C is called what you know, runtime errors. We can call runtime errors. So we will use three types of errors. Three types of errors we get it. One is called what? Compile time errors, logical errors. Next is called runtime errors. What exactly compile time errors are? Very, very simple. Compile time errors are those. Now I am talking about compile time errors. Next we talk about logical errors. Next we talk about runtime errors. Very carefully need to understand. See, I am not interacting with you because I need to completely focus on types of errors now. Completely focusing on completely types of errors. Okay. So carefully understand. Whenever I ask, try to remember. How many types of errors are getting? Come on, quickly. How many types of errors are coming? Everybody. Three types of errors are coming. What is that? Shortcut. CTE. Compile time errors. Logical errors. LE. Next is called RE. RTE. Nothing but what? Runtime errors. Three types of errors are coming. Compile time errors. Logical errors. Runtime errors. RTE. Runtime errors. Excellent. Now, sir, what do you mean by compile time error? What do you mean by compile time error? Now, look at my dear students. These errors are occurring. These errors are occurring during what? Compilation phase. Compilation phase. Compilation phase. These errors are occurring during compilation phase. What do you mean by compilation phase here? Converting .py into what? .pyc. .pyc is known as which phase? Compilation phase we can call. Compilation phase we can call. These errors are occurring during compilation phase. .py into .pyc. .pyc. Next, these errors are occurring during compilation phase. .py into .pyc. Fine. Next, we are going to stand. Let us take one example of it. Immediately one example. Of course, very simple, not a difficult. Let us start. For every moment, example is important. So I'm taking ex1.py, ex1.py, ex1.py. What is that now? A is equal to some 10, B is equal to some 20, C is equal to A plus, I am writing. Just A is equal to print A comma B comma C. A plus only I am writing. See that? Is it, who will catch these errors? Who will catch these errors? Who will catch these errors? Python compiler. Whether you know it or not, whenever we execute the Python program, two actions are taking place internally. One is called compilation phase, one is called execution phase. Who will compile our Python program? Who will compile our Python program? Our Python program is compiled with compiler. Okay. Who will execute our Python program? Who will execute the Python program? PVM. Super. Very nice. You gave very correct thing. Right. PVM. Very nice. Okay. Right. Yes, Piyush. No problem. Look at. Now I will save this concept, save this code. Let's moment everything. Try to have some type of. Let us go to the place of yours, 6 p.m. and there I will talk about exceptions. So exceptions. I am talking about exceptions. Right, ma'am? Exceptions. There I will take it ex1.py, ex1.py. There I am going to talk about the command prompt. So G:/cd KVR Python 6 p.m. Yes. Exceptions now. I will take up py and ex1.py. See that, my dear students? What is this now? C is equal to, what is this? Syntax error. Invalid syntax. Who will catch the syntaxes? Compiler. Our compiler will catch the errors. Okay, my dear students, try to understand me very carefully. Our compiler will catch these errors. So come to the point of it. Right, ma'am. Who will solve these errors? Come on, ma'am. Everybody try to understand me, please. Right. These errors occurs due to syntaxes are compilation phase. Why these errors are coming? Come on quickly. Due to excellent, ma. Due to wrong syntaxes. Ram, Anuj, excellent. Tell me, these errors occurs due to syntaxes are not followed. Due to wrong syntaxes. I am representing wrong syntaxes. Due to wrong syntaxes, these things will occur. Okay, fine. Who will solve these errors? Ma? Who will solve these errors? Programmer only will solve it. Excellent. Developers only will solve it. So these errors, I am giving the clarity. These errors solved by programmers. Solved by what? Programmers. During what time? At a development level. During which level? Development level. during development level. These errors solved by programmers at what? These errors solved by which types? When it is going to solve it? So these errors are solved by programmers at which level? Compile development level. Understand there are two words are there. Development level and implementation level. Two words are going to come. These errors solved by programmer at which level? Development level. Development level means in our company level what we are going to use it. During that period of time only we are going to solve it. Okay, right. So next we'll go for. So next we are going to understand another type of errors. Is this compile time errors are clear? I will go to my program and I will write a plus b and I will execute. I am solving it. I am solving my program error. Execute it. See, I got the answer. I got the answer. So in front of you only, these errors are known as what? We understand. Compile time errors are those occurring during compilation phase. What is compilation phase? Converting the source code into intermediate code. These errors occurs during wrong syntaxes. These errors are solved by the programmers. Solved by programmers. At which level? Development level. Development level. Perfect. Next we are going to enter into the another discussion now. Another discussion we are going to discuss. What exactly that? What exactly the meaning of it? Next errors. What are the next errors? Next level of errors? Logical errors. Keep in mind logical errors. This you will understand very carefully, my dear students. Right? Logical errors. Sir, what is logical errors, sir? See, these errors also occurring, these errors are occurring during execution time. During what time? Execution time. During execution time. Very, very simple. Sir, why these errors are occurring? Look at my dear students. Let us go to one paintbrush and try to understand this. Try to understand that A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 3, sir. Logic number 1, I am talking about it. Logic number 1, I am talking about it. Logic 1. I am talking about logic number 1. Logic number 1, I am going to talk about it. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 3. And now I am taking C is equal to, I mean, first of all, I want to tell you, this is my data. First of all, this is my data. What is the data? Calculate, find A plus B by 2, A plus B by 2, A plus B by 2. This is my query actually. A plus B by 2. This is my query. This is my query. Provided where I am writing A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 3. This is my data. This is my data. Okay. A is equal to 10. B is equal to 3. B is equal to 3. This is my data. Suppose I am going to calculate Aditya. What is that? A greater than B is what? What is that? A greater than B. Aditya. Please take care by yourself. Yeah. So in this case, logic number 1, some person is writing the logic like this. Some person is writing the logic number 1 like this. He has written C is equal to A plus B by 2. Like this he has written it. Can you expect it? What is the answer for this? Can you expect it? What is the answer for this? 10 plus 3 by 2. The answer you are going to get is, 10 plus 1.5. 10 plus 1.5. 10 plus 1.5. The answer you are going to get it. 11.5 is the answer is coming. So you please wait whether this logic is correct or not. We will decide it. So wait. And the logic number 2, somebody else is going for the logic number 2. This is called logic number 1. Next is called logic number 2. Logic number 2, I am going to talk about it. Logic number 2. What is the logic number 2 we have? What is the logic number 2 we have? A is equal to 10. B is equal to 3. Somebody else is calculating. C is equal to A plus B. A plus B. I am writing here. A plus B, I'm writing A plus B by 2, A plus B by 2. C is equal to A plus B by 2. So the answer which we are getting for this is, C is equal to 10 plus 3 by 2, 10 plus 3 by 2. What is the answer we are getting? C is equal to 13 by 2, which is going to be called as C is equal to, come on, anybody else? Abhi, what is the answer, ma? Abhi, 6.5. Abhi, take care, 6.5. Right. Now, two answers are there. Which one is the correct answer according to this? Is called one answer. This is called one answer. This is called another answer. You tell me what is the correct answer. You tell me. Answer C is the correct answer. This is the second answer is correct. Answer is correct. This is called invalid. So answer. Logic number 2 is the correct answer here. That means this is, which error? This is called logical error. This is called a logical error. This is called a logical error. Please understand everybody. Logical error this is called. This is called what? Correct representation of the logic. Why this logical error, wrong result is coming? Because of the wrong representation of logic. Because of what? Wrong representation of the logic. Right? So, coming to the point of it, I'm going to talk about something like this. So, these errors are occurring during execution time. Why these errors are occurring? Syntax errors are coming due to what? Wrong syntaxes. Be careful, ma. I'm coming to this. These errors occurs due to come on, which logic? Wrong representation. Now, wrong representation of logic. Wrong representation of what? Logic. Very perfect. These errors occurs due to wrong representation of logic or invalid representation of the logic. Because of this, what type of things will come? Come on. These errors are occurring due to wrong representation of logic. So we will get what errors? Wrong result will come. Due to logical errors, these errors occurs due to wrong representation of logic. So these errors always gives what? Wrong. Always gives wrong results. Always gives what results? Wrong results. Perfect. These errors always gives wrong results. Next I am going to give you who will solve these errors. These errors are solved by, I am going to give the clarity here. Solved by programmers during what level? Development level only. So whenever you get the wrong result, when I go to this is going to show you something like this. So whenever I write in this case C is equal to A plus, if I write it, that gives you what errors? Syntax error known as what? Compile time error. Compile time error. Okay, that we can solve it. In the same way, if I go to my program, look at this, my dear students, all of you. If I go like this, example2.py, now I am saying A is equal to 10, B is equal to 3, C is equal to A plus B by 2, print of A comma B comma C, for example. This is a logic. What is our logic is completely different. I just now told you. Execute this, go to the point of it. ex2.py, answer is coming, but that is not the answer we expected. Fine. Coming back to the point, our answer is something different. We expected something different answer. According to the representation, the answer is coming. Compiler never bother about the logics. Compiler bother about whether they are writing particular pattern or not. So the logic is taken care by the programmer only. The logic is taken care by the programmer only. I hope you are following me. 6.5 is an answer. Correct representation of the logic. So in this case, if I write C is equal to, if I write it, A plus B by 2, if I give it, it is going to be given as logical error. Logical error. It is going to be called as a logical error. Yeah. Let us coming back to our interest of execution. Next part. Next part we are going to talk about it. What is the next part we are going to talk about? Runtime errors we are going to explain. Runtime errors we are going to explain. So C point I am going to talk about it. This is called B point. Now I am going to enter into coming to the runtime errors. Coming to the runtime errors. So look at that. Runtime errors. Sunil Kumar, switch off your video. So coming to the point back, we are going to talk about the runtime errors. Mr. Matam Sunil Kumar, switch off your video. Yes. So look at that runtime error. This is a very, very, very important point now. Generally, if you ask any academic student, two types of errors are there, they will say. Compile time errors and runtime errors. Because they don't say about what? Logical errors. But we need to say about what? Logical errors also perfectly. Now, runtime errors. This is our exception handling in the class. Deals with what? Compile time errors, runtime errors. These are normal things. And the most important thing is exception handling means what? Runtime errors only. That is what I am going to explain. Okay, so simple. These errors are occurring during execution time. No doubt in that. These errors are occurring during execution time. Those errors are occurring at what time? Execution time only. Perfect. Next, why these errors are occurring first of all? Why these errors are occurring first of all? Try to understand that. Why these errors are occurring first of all? So try to understand that kind of thing first here. Very, very simple. Understand me here. Because of, yes, these errors are occurring because of wrong inputs. Wrong inputs are given by the programmer. In the beginning days, whether you remembered or not, we talked about robustness. And here, you take any student, except a few of them, most of the people don't know why runtime errors are occurring. Compile time errors are occurring because of what? Syntaxes are not followed. Logical errors are occurring because of what? Wrong representation of logic. And these runtime errors are occurring. This is one of the critical point, my dear students. Try to catch me very quickly. These errors are occurring due to, I am writing in the next point, due to which representation? Which one? Due to invalid or wrong input entered by Seema, all of you, entered by application user. Entered by what? Application users. These errors occurs due to invalid or wrong input entered by application users, or what? End users we can call. End users. These errors are occurring due to end users. So what exactly meaning of it? Try to understand me very easily. So in real-time projects, suppose you take it, you are the programmer, you will develop your own application and you are giving to the end user. Example, you developed an ICICI banking application, banking software, and you installed in the client organization. And the client people are using it and they are entering something wrong. Such a type of errors are called what? Runtime errors we can call. These errors are generally called as what you know, implementation errors we can call. Implementation errors we can call. Alternative name for runtime errors is called what? Implementation errors we can call. Dear students, very big, very important mark. Please try to understand. Right? So coming to the point of it, my dear Piyush Kumar, what is the difference between A and C? A and C difference you are asking. Okay? You only need to tell ma. I think this is a very dangerous doubt for me also. Difference between A and C you are asking. A and C you are asking. So I hope you are following, I think so. What is the difference between A and C? What is A? Compile time errors. Occurring because of what? Occurring because of what? Piyush? What ma? So actually the doubts you are asking na, it's a very simple doubts you are asking, but you are understanding well, I think so. So this is coming because of what? Wrong syntaxes. These are occurring because of what? Wrong input. Invalid input you are entering. Wrong input you are entering. Do you understand the difference between wrong syntaxes and wrong input? Yes, ma? Are you understanding that? Are you understanding that? Fine. I hope you are getting me what I am trying to ask you. Right? So let us start with the things. I'll show you the example. You carefully understand, that's it. You carefully understand my concept. Yes, man. Somebody, his video is on. Vastam Sunil Kumar is continuously there. I'll remove this person. Even I am getting problem. I am unable to. Even I got same type of problem. Yeah, I removed that person because continuously it gives error also, giving problem to me. So coming to the point of it, runtime errors are those, because this is a very dangerous kind of thing. Kajal, listen, ma. Please format your existing knowledge. Right? If you have your some knowledge with you and if you try to listen, it is a problem to understand me. You first understand me, later you match with your existing knowledge if it is valid. Okay? Try to understand. So these errors are occurring due to execution in execution time. Why these are occurring? Due to invalid input or wrong input. Take one example directly. Take one example directly. Go to ATM application. Go to ATM application. Think like you are a programmer and somebody else is using that application. Kajal, carefully try to understand ma, all of you. Right? Keep your concentration. ATM application you are developing, for example. Okay, fine. In this case, you entered into the ATM center, application was ready, it is designed so perfectly. It is designed so perfectly. You entered into the ATM center. You entered into the ATM center, and this is called ATM machine. And this is called ATM machine. Somebody and you entered inside the ATM machine and kept your card. And kept your card. Kept your card. Fine. And how this person kept their card? This application was ready. ATM application is executing 24/7. ATM application is under ATM application which is ready, which is application is running. Running means what? There was no compile time errors, there was no compile time errors, there was no syntax errors, there was no logical errors, everything is running perfect. Right? End user entered. Who is this? End user. That is nothing but application user. Application user is. He entered into the ATM machine. He entered into the ATM machine and he started using it. The moment when he entered into the ATM machine, he kept his card in reverse order. He kept his card in reverse order. Are you understanding my point? He kept his card reverse order. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Wrong input he is giving. Did you understand? Did you understand that meaning here? Wrong input he is giving. Wrong inputs are there in different ways, which I am going to explain in the class. right? So, what is the point I am saying? The end user Anvita, simple. Because everything is there on this point only. Because if you did not understand this point, so difficulties will come. Exceptions are completely different. And that too, it is closely related with runtime errors. These are occurring due to invalid input or wrong input. Entered into the ATM center, and you are inserted the card, end user, application user or end user, inserted user, inserted the card inserted in reverse order of original one, reverse order of original one. Okay, the order which you are supposed to insert is not inserting in the same order. Card inserted in reverse order. The card which is inserted in reverse order, is it a valid input or invalid input? Is it valid or invalid input? It is invalid. This is called invalid input. This is called invalid input. Wrong input to the machine. Wrong input to the machine. Wrong input to the machine. It is a wrong input to the machine. Yes, sir. Immediately what will happen? When the user inserted a card in reverse order, we are getting invalid input. That is invalid input. So immediately what is ATM machine is showing? What is ATM machine is showing? What is my ATM application is saying? Tell me. What is my ATM application is saying? Can you tell me what it is saying? It is saying one message for you. Understand? Listen. It is saying one message. That message is remove the card and insert the card properly. Remove the card and insert properly. Or please insert the card properly. See the word I am writing. Please insert the card properly. You hear one sentence. This is known as what? I am giving today one word for you. All of you should remember. User friendly error message. User-friendly error message, this is called. User-friendly error message, this is called. User-friendly error message, it is called. ATM application, please insert the card properly. User-friendly error message. This message is called what message? User-friendly error message. That means the ATM application developer is having forecasting knowledge. Forecasting knowledge means what? He is predicting, he is expecting some of the users in a hurry manner, they may insert the card properly. They may do some wrong things with my ATM application. They predetermined already. They expected already. They determined already. And that's why they are detected that card is in reverse order. And that's why they are going to give you what? Please insert the card properly. That is known as which message? All of you should submit which message? User-friendly error message. User-friendly error message. Even in shortcut also you can say, if you want to type, it takes more time to type it. User-friendly, UFEM, user-friendly error message. Tell me, as on today, you take your mobile application, my dear student, mobile you take it. When you are opening your screen lock, somebody will keep the pin, somebody will keep the pattern also. When you enter wrong pattern if you draw, or wrong pin you enter, what is the message is coming? Just tell me what is the message is coming? Invalid pin, wrong pin, try again. Like that we will get it or not? What is that message, my dear students? What is that message, my dear student? User-friendly error message. That means the screen unlock program is there internally. Screen unlock program is there, which is checking your original pattern with the drawn pattern what you have. If both of them are matching, screen is unlocked. Otherwise, it is saying the message back to you, saying that invalid pattern or invalid pin. What is that message called? User-friendly error message. That means a screen unlock program contains the person who developed the screen unlock thing has decided already. He has a forecasting knowledge. Some of the people may enter wrong kind of key, wrong pin may be entering, wrong pin may be entering. That time I should give which message directly? Which message? User friendly error message has to be given. So my dear student, tell me, tomorrow if you develop your own code, tomorrow if you develop your own project, your project is recommended to give which messages, my dear students? Which messages you are supposed to give? User friendly error messages you will give. You take financial transactions, you take your websites also, you take it. Username, password you are entering. For example, you entered your username and you entered password wrong. What it is giving? Invalid password. Try again, it will say. Invalid password, try again means what message? User friendly error message. User friendly error message. Everywhere else compulsory. Something you enter wrong. What is the message is compulsory coming? User friendly error message is coming. Internally, some sort of code is written or not? Tell me. Internally, some sort of code is written or not? Yes, sir. Some sort of code is written. See, my dear students, I will give you one beautiful note for you. Beautiful note for you. It is an evergreen note for every student. In real-time project, see, my dear students, in real-time projects, what is happening? Whenever you give, what is happening? Whenever in real-time projects, whenever you give, two things are there. Once you give valid input, once you give invalid input, what is happening? In real-time projects, there are two things you are supposed to take it. In real-time projects, whenever you give which input? Valid input. Whenever you give which input? Valid input. You give valid input. You give invalid input. What is happening? Yes, I am writing here. What is happening here? Here I am writing. Valid input I am giving. Valid input I am giving here. Valid input I am giving. Whenever I give valid input, what is the result is coming? Valid result is coming. Valid result is coming. What is the result is coming? Valid result is coming. Valid result. Whenever you enter invalid input, whenever we enter what input? Invalid input we are giving. What is coming? Come on, quickly. Invalid input is coming. What is, no, 1 minute, ma, 1 minute. Invalid input is giving. Generally, it is going to give you, which is occurring, runtime error will come. Which error will come? Runtime error will come. Just now we learned a concept also. Don't get tension, ma. These errors occurs due to invalid input or wrong input entered by application users or what? End users. The moment when you enter wrong input, please keep these things in the mind always. Any kind of thing you learn it, any kind of thing. Only you remember my Python class. Valid input, even Java also same. Valid input you entered, okay, valid result, you enjoy. Invalid input you entered, runtime error is coming. In the runtime error also, when the runtime error is occurring, by default, there we are talking about it. By default, what is occurring? Programmatically, what is occurring? I just want to talk about it. Programmatically, what is coming? By default, what is occurring? And all those things, I just want to write it. So I am writing here. By default, what is occurring? Programmatically, what is occurring? I just want to write it. So I am writing here. By default, what is occurring? By default, what is occurring? I am trying to write it. By default, we are going to get which message? By default, we are getting technical error messages. Keep in mind, technical error messages. I am going to show you that. Technical error messages. Who will not understand technical error messages? First of all, who will understand technical error messages? Understandable by programmers. Who will not understand? End users cannot understand. Who will understand technical error messages? And who will understand technical error messages? Only programmers. Don't take much time of it. Please quickly understand. Who will understand? Who will understand these technical error messages? Programmers. Understandable by simple words I am writing. Understandable by programmers. UND. Just I am writing. If you want, I can write. If you want full, I will write it. Understandable by understandable. Understandable by programmers. Programmers. Understandable by programmers. Understandable by programmers. But not by end users. But not by end users. I'm writing. But not by end users. But not by what? End users. Good. Is the industry recommends? Is the industry recommends such kind of things? No. Industry is not recommended. Industry is not recommended to develop what? Industry is not recommended to give which messages? Technical error messages are not recommended to give. That's why programmatically, my dear students, I'm trying to take one more just below to that. I'll just try to drag it and I will write it. Programmatically, I'm going to give you. So I'm writing here, programmatically, it is always recommended for you to give which messages? Programmatically always recommended for you to give which messages? User-friendly error messages. Now, my dear student, I am writing here, programmatically, I am going to give you the clarity here. Programmatically, we are supposed to give. Programmatically, what we are supposed to give? Which messages? You are supposed to convert. Programmatically, we are supposed to convert which messages? User-friendly error messages. So, programmatically, generate which messages? User-friendly error messages. User-friendly error messages. How to generate user-friendly error messages? How user-friendly error messages are generally generating? By using a beautiful topic called what? Exception handling. What is the topic name? Exception handling is the topic name we are using. By using exception handling, we are using this type of concepts. I hope that you people are understanding what exactly meaning of exception handling here. Dear students, can you understand this kind of information? Is it understandable? Yes. So now you are understanding exception handling concept makes us to generate which messages? Exception handling makes us to generate which messages? User-friendly error messages. If we did not use, which messages are coming by default? TEM, technical error messages. Try to understand which messages are occurring? Technical error messages are coming. Who will understand technical error messages? Only programmers. Who cannot understand? Users cannot understand. But ultimately, you are developing the project for easiness for the end users. So, end user related messages you need to give it. To generate the user-friendly error messages, you must learn which programming technique? You must learn which programming technique? Exception handling programming technique we must understand. I hope that now I am asking the beautiful definition of exception handling. If you really follow me, what is the definition of exception handling? Just tell me, what is the meaning of exception handling? I just put one arrow. I am helping you, a hint for you. What is the definition of exception handling? Yes, everybody must answer this. To convert, yes, Manvita, super. To convert technical error messages into which messages? User-friendly error messages. The process of converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages is known as what? Come on, is known as which messages? Exception handling we can call. Dear students, is this diagram is clear or not? Is this a diagram which I just written? Is this diagram is clear or not? This point is very, very important. You apply on any project. Simply you apply this project. This is my advice for all of you. Be perfect about this type of exceptions. Without the knowledge of this, you cannot understand anything else. Without the knowledge of anything, you cannot understand this type of discussion. So be perfect in this area. Be perfect in this area. Without this mechanism, if you move forward, it is a problem. Okay. So be perfect about this type of thing. What is this error is called? What is this errors are called? Come on back. Come on back to the point. Except runtime errors. Runtime errors are occurring because of what? Runtime errors are occurring because of what? Invalid inputs, wrong inputs. Who will enter wrong inputs? Who will enter wrong inputs? Wrong inputs are entered by whom? Application user. Super. End users. Very nice. Nice response. Nice response. Sagar. Very good, ma. So, wrong input. Wrong inputs by default gives which messages? Wrong inputs by default gives which messages? Super, Maditya. Yeah, Harsha, Mono, very good. Tausif, Abhi, Nitin, yes, Sagar, good. Entered, giving you what? Technical error messages. Who can understand technical error messages? Who can understand technical error messages? Only programmers. Who cannot understand? Who cannot understand? End users. Is it the practice in real industry? Is it the practice in real industry? No. So real industry says what? Always gives which messages? Real industry says always gives which messages? User-friendly error messages. To give user-friendly error messages, compulsory we require one programming. One topic is required. That's why in every programming language, exception handling is compulsory. You learn data science, machine learning, deep learning, anything. Exception handling is a compulsory. Compulsory that is called. Without exception handling, no real-time project. Just to make it granted. Just to make it granted. I hope you are catching me what I am trying to take care of it. Is it clear? Is it okay? Yes. So my dear students, I am trying to give you the clarity here. These errors, come on, these errors solved by programmers. These errors solved by programmers with their forecasting knowledge, with their, which knowledge? I am using the word called what? Forecasting knowledge. That is nothing but more experiences in the project. Forecasting knowledge. These errors are solved by programmers with their forecasting knowledge by using which one? Exception handling concept. Exception handling concept. You tell me, by giving user-friendly error messages, will you say robusta? By saying technical error messages, you will say robusta. By giving which messages, you say robust, user-friendly error messages. That's why the purpose of exception handling is, come on ma, is to develop what applications? Robust applications, strong applications we can call. The purpose of exception handling is that to develop which applications? Robust applications we can call. Once again, in real-time applications, to develop any project, we use a language. And by using that language, we develop programs, execute the programs. During this process, we get various types of errors. Compile time, logical, runtime. Compile time errors are nothing but you are only solving because you are entering wrong inputs. Logical errors are coming because of wrong representation of logic. Wrong results are coming. Runtime errors are those which are occurring during execution time. These errors occurs due to invalid input or wrong input entered by application users or end users. These errors are solved by the programmers with their forecasting knowledge by using what concept? Exception handling concept. I hope you are understanding. So implementation errors, when the project is installed, that time implementation errors are coming. Implementation address, implementation, in the bracket I will write it. Implementation errors, that is nothing but implementation errors are addressed by the programmers. These errors solved by programmers with their forecasting knowledge. So I write implementation errors are addressed by what? Exception handling. Exception handling. Addressed by what? Exception handling. I hope you are understanding what I am trying to talk. Right. Yes, ma. Kajal, you are keeping your doubt as it is, right? I will explain, ma. You are concentrating only on your doubt. That is a very, very simple, ma. Very, very simple, ma. Kajal, please wait 1 minute. I will explain. You are still concentrating on your doubt. So that is, you are still concentrating on your doubt, ma. That is very simple. You will understand. Now I will ask the people. So since you are concentrating on your doubt, so you are not getting me what I am talking. Okay? Look at that. Look at that. I will ask, see, you are keeping your doubt with you. I will ask this question to the students. They will tell. Yeah. See, dear students, all of you, dividing by 0 come under what type of error? So, what is our doubt is C is equal to A by B. A value entered by end user, B value entered by end user. And she saying B is divided by 0 means what? A by 0. So, these inputs are entered by end user. Which type of error it is? If anybody says you need to write imposition you need to write. Yes, everybody is saying that it is called a runtime error. It is called a runtime error. So with my explanation, if you listen carefully, you can answer that questions very perfectly. If you concentrate only on your doubt, we can't help you. So such a type of things, I will tell you so many things. So this is a very simple thing in our class, right? So coming to the point back, here I am going to give you the clarity. Under this, runtime errors are those which are occurring due to some type of invalid input. Now I am going to prepare some type of points. I am going to talk about it. So here how many types of errors are there? These are generally called as types of errors or introduction to exception handling. Now I am going to prepare some type of points. What is that? Points to be remembered. I am giving a good, very nice building points I am explaining. 5 to 6 points I am explaining. Points to be remembered. In exception handling. Points to be remembered in where? Exception handling. I am just going to explain this. Very, very simple. First point, dear students. Now, whatever I am explaining, you try to confirm it. So, when the application user enters which input? Invalid input or what? Wrong input. When the application user enters invalid or wrong input, we get which errors? When the application user enters or wrong input, we get what? Runtime error. Question to answer. Don't go to your own answer. Whatever I am explaining, you tell me so that you will be perfect. So, I am giving a simple equation here. Invalid inputs always gives what? Runtime errors. That's it. I am not asking anything to remember about anything else. I will explain everything for you. Because I am not explaining anything which is already known. You follow me, that's it. Okay, fine. When the application user enters invalid input, after I explain, you remember for lifelong. Because what we used in industry, I am just representing in the class. This you need in the industry, that's it. Other than that, I don't want. Yeah. Invalid inputs gives what error? Runtime error. That is the first point. Okay. Sir, runtime errors by default gives which messages, sir? Runtime errors by default gives which messages, sir? You see on the board. Runtime errors by default gives which messages, sir? Technical error messages. That point I want. Runtime errors. I am giving here. Runtime errors. Runtime errors. By default gives. By default gives. Which messages? Runtime errors by default gives which messages? Technical error messages. Technical error messages. Technical error messages. Runtime errors by default gives which messages? Technical error messages. Runtime errors by default gives technical error messages. Okay? Which are not understandable by, I will write it. Which are understandable by, I will mention this point. Because these are the building blocks for entire subject. Which are understandable by, right? Understandable by whom? Programmers. But not by, come on, but not by end users or application users, we can call. End users or what? Application users. Maximum I am trying to keep the information here. Okay. But industry recommends to give which messages? Industry is always recommended. I am giving here itself. Industry always recommended, to generate, which messages? User friendly error messages. User friendly error messages. Always recommended to give user friendly error messages. Good. Runtime errors by default gives technical error messages which are understandable by programmers but not by end or application users. Industry always recommended to generate which messages? User friendly error messages. Very nice. Next, third point I am going to give you. No difficulty. So I am giving here runtime errors. No problem. Runtime errors. Yes. Runtime errors always gives what? Technical error messages. Technical error messages. Technical error messages. Yes, perfect. Technical error messages. Runtime errors always gives which messages? Technical error messages. Okay, very good. Now, definition of exception I am talking. Very important. Definition of what? Exception. Very simple, sir. Definition of exception. I am trying to give you the clarity here. Every runtime error of a program is called, every runtime error of a program is called, what? Exception. Is called exception. This is one of the very important point. Abhi, listen ma, listen. What I am saying, listen. So it is not a technical error message, okay? Every runtime error of a program is called exception. What I said, runtime errors by default gives, I said. I am talking definition here, not anything else. That's what, when I am explaining, listen very carefully. Later digest it and reproduce it. Okay, please. This is, you try to habituate from my class. Okay, you may feel SAR is saying opposing our definitions. Yes, when it is wrong, I have to oppose compulsory. Why? Because that wrong things, if you say in front of interviewer, it goes some different meaning. So I am your well-wisher, that's why I am opposing your definition. I am just supporting you to learn perfect things. Yeah, every runtime error of the program is called what? Exception. See, my dear student, I am writing. Yeah, one equation I am writing. For your clarity, every invalid input is called what? Every invalid input is called what? Tell me. Runtime error. Every runtime error of the program is called what today? Exception. Now tell me, if you really follow me, one point I want to say. Let me take one small pointer in my class. Yes, I will take it. Okay. Now tell me, every invalid input is called what? Runtime error. Every runtime error is called what? Exception. Hence, every invalid input is called what? Every invalid input is simply straightforward called what? Exception. That's why, my dear students, I am asking you the conclusion here. Every invalid input, hence, this point you must habituate. Every invalid input must be always to be taken as, what? Exception. Must be always to be taken as what? Exception. Is it okay? Is it okay? Now I will ask some questions. Go to the ATM center once again. Keeping the card in reverse order is called what? Keeping the card in reverse order is called what? Exception. Keeping the card in reverse order is called what? Exception. Is called what? Exception. Excellent. See, I am giving you my dear students. Here you see. Runtime error, I am writing at this moment of time. One sentence I am writing. Exception, I am writing here. One word I am writing. What is the word I am writing here? Exception. Every exception. Okay? Every exception. Every exception by default generates what? Technical error message. Every exception is by default gives technical error message. We use exception handling. We convert into what? User-friendly error messages. Okay, let us coming back to the point. Okay, next I am going to talk about fourth point I am writing. Is it recommended to give technical error messages? Exceptions always gives which messages, ma? Now tell me, exceptions always gives which messages? Wrong. Technical error messages. One point you understand. Every technical error is called what? If you get confused, I can't do anything else. Last and final I am telling. One or two students are saying some different answers. Every invalid input is called runtime error. Every runtime error is called exception. Here I said runtime errors by default gives which messages? Technical error messages. So hence I am saying every exception always gives which message? Every exception by default gives which message? By default gives which message? Technical error message. Which message? Technical error message. And that I already told you. Once again I am giving that, which is understandable by programmers but not understandable by, I can give this type of message. If you want, I can give you this message, which are understandable by programmers but not are understandable by end users. That's why in the bracket I am giving invalid input. This is the one gives you what? Exception. Okay, exception. Exceptions by default gives which messages? Technical error messages. Because I am going for development of our own exceptions. Right. Fine. Now finally I am taking definition of exception handling. See the word called handling. Handling the exception. Handling means what? What do you mean by handling? Difficult situations you are converting into favorable situations. How the people will feel that your program is so perfect, even though they commit mistake, you are telling their mistakes, so they feel robust or weak. Will they feel robust or weak program? They will feel robust. Definition of which one? Exception handling. Definition of exception handling. What is the definition of exception handling, guys? The process of converting which messages? The process of converting technical error messages into which messages? User-friendly error messages. The process of converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages is known as what? Exception handling. Is known as what? Exception handling. I hope you are understanding what I am talking about. The process of converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages is known as what? Exception handling. Is it understandable? Fine. Let us coming to the next point. Sixth point I am going to understand. Sixth point and seventh point. And this we must be so perfect in this area. Be perfect, my dear students. Be perfect, my dear students. Don't leave the session until I say session is over. If you leave the session, next class onwards you will feel difficulty, because if we don't understand this entire mechanism, you will get a problem. You will get a problem. So, if it is disconnected, again you connect it, try to learn everything. Next, what happens when an exception is occurring in the program? When an exception occurs, I'm going to say, when an exception occurs in Python program, when an exception occurs in which program? Python program. Internally, three steps takes place. Three steps takes place internally. Three steps takes place internally. Three steps takes place. Okay, what are those three steps are? Point A, point B, point C, I am writing. Point A, point B, point C, I am writing. When an exception occurs in the Python program, internally three steps takes place. A and then B and then C. Three steps are taking place internally. What are those steps, sir? Number one. Let us go to the program. Here you see, I am taking. This is my Python program. Just let me draw one small like this. Yes, ma, Kajal, listen very carefully. I am coming to your example only. Okay, right. This is my program. A is equal to 10. B is equal to 0. A is equal to 10. B is equal to 10. And next C is equal to A by B. Print of A, print of B, and print of C. Now, start. Now, here you see, I will write the statements little spacious and try to understand. Here I am having the statement numbers. 1 and next is called 2 and then next is called 3 and next is called 4 and next is called 5 and next is called 6. These are my statements in the program. So this is my program called what? Sample dot or div dot py. And then dear students, who will start executing the Python program? PVM starts executing the Python program. When you started executing, do you feel that is there any problem in line number 1? Line number 1 I am talking. Problem in the sense input problem, that's it. Other than that, nothing is there. Is there any problem in line number 1? No, sir. It will go to line number 2. Is there any problem in line number 2? No, sir. Nothing. Is it problem? Anything is there in problem number 3? Problem in the sense, if the PVM is able to execute, there is no problem. If the PVM is unable to execute, then there is a problem. Is there any problem in statement number 3? Yes, sir. There is a problem in statement number 3. Because whenever the statement number 3, be careful, I am going to give the clarity here. When the exception is occurring in step number 3, when the C is equal to A by B, what is happening? You see, C is equal to 10 by 0. Actually, strictly speaking, 10 by 0, PVM cannot process. Mathematically, it is called infinity. So this problem is called, this is called invalid input. Every invalid input is going to give you what? I told already in the class. Every invalid input is known as what? Runtime error. Every runtime error is known as what? Exception. Already I am giving so detailed story. Every invalid input is called what? Runtime error. Every runtime error is called what? Exception. That means in line number 3, what is occurring? Can you tell me in line number 3 what is occurring? Exception is occurring. Exception is occurring. When an exception is occurring, do you know what is happening? The first statement in the line number 3, an exception is occurring. Do you know when the exception is occurring? PVM, abnormally, PVM stops the program execution. PVM stops the program execution. PVM stops the program execution abnormally. Abnormally means what? Suddenly. PVM stops the program execution abnormally. Stops the execution abnormally. Suddenly. Abnormally means what? Suddenly. Suppose, for example, I am taking my class. During that, some net issue has occurred or some power failure has taken place. That is all of a sudden it is occurring. That is called exception is occurring. Abnormal termination means all of a sudden it is happening something. So first thing is called what? PVM stops the program execution abnormally. Okay. When it stops, what is happening? PVM flow. PVM comes out of program flow. Comes out of program flow. It will come out of the program flow. See, my dear students, when the exception is occurring in line number 3, do you know what is happening? Line number 3 is executing. Immediately it will come out of the program flow. It will come out of it without executing further statements. That is known as what? Abnormal termination. One more example. You entered into the ATM center. First step, okay. Second step, you entered your asking PIN number. You entered wrong PIN number. When you enter wrong PIN number, is it asking enter the amount to withdraw or it will terminate? It will terminate or it is asking any further information. It will say invalid PIN number, try again. It will come out of it. Terminating. It is just terminating. One more time. You enter into the ATM center, entering the PIN number. Then after that, choosing the withdraw. You are choosing the fourth step. 20,000 you want to withdraw, but you have the amount called 10,000 only. What is that is called? Entering 20,000 when you have 10,000. Is it a valid input or invalid input? Invalid input. Every invalid input is called what? Exception. Super. Every invalid input is called exception. Every invalid input is called exception. When an exception is occurring, what? Program execution is abnormally terminated. Listen very carefully. Program execution is abnormally terminated. PVM comes out of the program flow. By default, see my dear students, by default, PVM generates technical error messages. See, my dear students, PVM generates by default. PVM generates which messages? Technical error messages. Is it clear? That means when an exception is occurring, all of a sudden technical error message is occurring. What happens when an exception is occurring? Internally, 3 steps are taking place. Number 1, PVM stops the program execution abnormally. PVM comes out of the program flow, and by default, PVM generates a technical error messages. I hope this is clear for my explanation. This is clear to my, I think this is clear for you. Is it okay? Can I say one more point? 7th point, can I say? Can I move forward? Yes. Tell me, this type of diagram is clear. A by B, 10 by 0, invalid input, runtime error, exception. What is happening? Step number A. Here, step number A. Step number B. Step number C. What is happening in step number A? Step number A, what is happening? Abnormal termination. Okay. Next point is what? Abnormal termination. Next is called what? PVM comes out of what? Program flow. Okay, PVM comes out of program flow. Okay, next PVM comes out of program flow, and the next is coming giving you what by default. PVM generates. PVM generates what? PVM generates which messages? Technical error messages by default. Is it recommended? Is it recommended? No, sir. Now we need to go for what? Handle that exception. Yeah. Now, this A, B, fourth line not executed, fifth line not executed, sixth line not executed. Because of 10 by 0, it is one problem is happening. This problem name is called a division by 0 problem. Wait for 2 minutes. I will mention this. Let me tell you the problem name. Wait for 2 minutes. You will understand. This is called problem. Problem name is division by 0. What this problem is called? Division by 0. I will write the problem name here. Just watch it. Wait for 2 minutes. You will understand. What is this? Division by 0 problem. Division by 0 problem. In English I am writing, my dear students. Don't think otherwise. Yeah. Coming to the point back. See, sir. When the exception is occurring, these ABC steps are taking place. Do you know, students? Please connect to me quickly. Don't take much time. Connect quickly. In our Python, everything is performing by using what? In Python, everything is called what? Excellent. Super. Object. Everything is called an object. Are you dealing anything without object? Are you dealing anything without object? No, sir. Even when an exception is occurring, when an exception is occurring, to perform, to do what? A comma B and then what? C operations. To do these operations, which one I am talking about it? When an exception is occurring, to do A comma B comma C operations. When an exception is occurring, to do what operations? To do A comma B and then C operations. Internally, I am saying here, internally, PVM creates, this is a most wonderful point, PVM creates an object. Every object need what? Tell me, my students, every object need what? Come on to the point. Excellent. Class is required. Every object require what? Object is required. When an exception is occurring, to do this ABC points, to do the above ABC points, internally PVM creates an object with respect to the exception class. See, PVM abnormally terminating. To abnormal termination, to make it to come out of it, to generate the technical error message, one exception class is required. Whose exception classes are there? Every exception class object is created by PVM. Every exception class object is created by PVM. So here in our class, you see, this is a problem name. What is the problem name? Division by 0 problem. This is a problem name. For this problem, PVM creates internally. I am writing here. PVM creates an object of 0 division error. I will show you that program also. 0 division error. It is the name of the class. Dear students, try to ensure everybody. PVM creates an object of what? 0 division error. What is 0 division error? Diti Krishna, switch off your video. PVM creates an object called what? 0 division error. 0 division error is called what? What is the 0 division error is called, everybody? It is called exception class. It is an exception class. Like that, so many exception classes I am going to tell you. Kajal, are you understanding, ma? When you say 10 by 0, it is called runtime error. Whose object is created here? Whose object is created? Tell me. Zero division error. It is the name of the exception class. It is the name of the exception class. See, my dear students, this is called exception class name. That means for every exception, internally what is creating? What is creating? Object of what is created? Exception class is created. Internally an object is created. That object require what classes? Exception classes are required. When an exception is occurring, to do the above ABC operation, internally PVM creates what? PVM creates what? An object of exception class. PVM creates an object of exception class. PVM creates an object of exception class. Okay. So, last point I am writing. So, object of exception class is created and by default gives which message? And by default gives which message? Technical error messages. By using the same exception classes, by using the same exception class, we will generate what? User-friendly error messages also I am going to give you. Last point I am giving. Hence, every exception, when an exception occurs in, now I am writing last and final question. Hence, when an exception occurs in Python program, PVM creates an object of, creates a what? PVM creates an object of what? Exception, appropriate exception class. See that appropriate, so many number of exceptions I will tell you. Appropriate exception class. What is the use of exception class? Somebody will ask you. What is the use of exception class? The use of exception class is to terminate the program execution when an exception is occurring. Ninth point I will mention it. The last point I am writing, last point. Don't feel difficulty. The purpose of what is that? The purpose of which classes? Exception classes. The purpose of which classes? Exception classes. Is that to terminate the program execution, to terminate the program execution. The purpose of exception classes. The purpose of exception classes is that to terminate the program execution abnormally when an exception occurs. Compulsory we need. Suppose you are entering wrong PIN number. One exception class update is created. You are entering username password wrong. One exception class update is created. Without creating an exception class update, I cannot move forward. Compulsory I have to create what? Exception class update is created. I hope you are understanding. Is it understandable or not? These points are so powerful points in my class. Once you know these 9 points, we can do like anything. So last and final, every exception is considered as what? Right? 10th point. Every exception is considered as an object. Considered as an object. Every exception is considered as an object. Am I correct? Every data type is considered as a class whose object we are storing. Every exception occurrence is considered as one object. That's it. 10th point also I mentioned it. 10th point also I mentioned, my dear students. So see that, try to understand my concept here. Yes. Kajal, I don't know, ma. I don't know. I don't have an idea about it. Please contact in the office. Whether we have holiday for Diwali or not, I don't have the, ma. Yes, ma. Abhijit, okay. I will stop it. Okay. Right. So, am I clear today? About these concepts, my dear students? So, before leaving the session, how many types of errors are there? 3 types of errors are there. Right. Did you understand this type of 10 points to be remembered in the exception handling? Did you remember these 10 points? Yes. So more about that, In tomorrow's class, we will go for it. Don't miss the tomorrow session. Very, very, very important session. And one more thing, students. As you know, already 11 o'clock, new Python batch is started. If any of your friends are there, you can intimate. You can intimate. So tomorrow I'm going to start the variables, initialization, variables, rules, all those things. In last and final entry, if any of your friends are there, you tell them if they are interested, they can join into tomorrow class. Yes, ma'am. New Java batch also will start. The last session, my 4 o'clock Java batch is also over. In that, it may start. It may start. Okay. Thank you. All the best. Right. Good. Thank you, ma'am. All the best. So tomorrow, don't miss it. Very, very important scenarios. Thank you. All the best. Good day. Good night.